Thanks for staying with us. Let's get you some international updates from Japan now. Even before the battered nation could start off the process of recovery, two more earthquakes have struck. The latest one, measuring 6, hit Fukushima, and the major aftershocks continue. But earlier this morning too, an earthquake measuring 6.6 on the Richter scale shook up the island. As the people of Japan struggle to cope, this one struck the central and the mountainous part of the country early this morning. It was 170 kilometers north of Tokyo. Dozens of aftershocks have rattled Japan's northeast since yesterday's quake, but the most recent quake was in an entirely different location. It caused buildings in Tokyo to sway. Over 1,700 people are estimated to have died in the Japan disaster, and that number could rise as relief and rescue workers fan out across the areas ravaged by the tsunami. 4 trains are still missing in the Sendai region. A ship carrying 100 people was also reported missing, but the true extent of the disaster was not known because roads to the worst hit areas were washed away or blocked by debris, and airports were closed. 6 million households, more than 10% of the total in Japan, are without electricity. The powerful earthquake that unleashed a devastating tsunami appears to have moved the main island of Japan by 8 feet and shifted the earth on its axis. Ndtv-Hindu tried to get in touch with a man of Tamil origin settled in the tsunami-struck island. He gave us an account of the situation there today.
The region situation is under control. The basic lifeline is restored. Public transportation is up, and gas, electricity, and water all up. So this is compared to yesterday, where the situation was much worse. A total blackout. We couldn't communicate with each other, and public transportation was down. So now things are better. The only thing is further up northeastern Miyagi and Niigata area, there has been utter chaos and lots of loss of life and all has happened. But in the Tokyo, Yokohama region, things are much better. Only thing is, none of us have expected or experienced this much. So there was some confusion, both at home and office. I was in Landmark Tower, which is the tallest building in whole of Japan. Okay, it's up, say 72 floors above. So the only thing was, I was literally lost my hope because I have not experienced that much of earthquake.
Well, unprecedented, although Japan is no stranger there, but sending a moment of fear for the residents there. Today, an explosion was also heard at the Fukushima nuclear plant. There are reports that at least 4 workers have been injured there. Japan's massive earthquake had caused a power outage that disabled the nuclear reactor's cooling system. Japanese officials fear a meltdown at a nuclear power plant hit by yesterday's earthquake after radioactive material was detected outside it. In fact, substances like cesium and radioactive iodine have been detected near the number 1 reactor at the Fukushima number 1 nuclear power station. 80,000 residents within a 10-kilometer radius are now being evacuated with radiation levels around the plant at 10 times the acceptable limit. Well, the devastating earthquake that struck Japan left passengers stranded in airports in the United States and prompted tsunami warnings for Hawaii and U.S. western coastal states. On the U.S. mainland, marinas and harbors in California and Oregon bore the brunt of the damage. Authorities estimate the damage to be in millions of dollars. In Santa Cruz County in California, people were allowed to return to their homes. Now, the election season is turning up the temperatures, but the Detroit of India is certainly not lagging behind in terms of industrial output. Ndtv-Hindu caught up with Mike Bonaham, the managing director and the president of Ford India, and here's what he had to say about the blossoming auto industry despite a constantly changing political scene here.
It opened its doors to international investment in the 90s. We were the first MNC, motor vehicle manufacturer, multinational corporation to come and set ourselves up here in India. We went through a very robust process of selection relative to the states that we would move into, and we looked at a number of criteria. Industrial policy, that transparency, whatever political party was in, we had to have consistency in terms of industrial policy. Availability of a well-educated labour force, obviously The access to ports is another key and critical item. And overall, for us, Tamil Nadu fitted all of the criteria in one way or another, some extremely strongly in number one, others right up there amongst the top, the leaders. Tamil Nadu is a very stable environment for us. We've had a tremendous relationship here, no matter which political party has been in, because they've had that industrial policy that's transparent. And that to us provides a high level of comfort.
You're watching headlines now on Ndtv-Hindu. Up ahead, just when Nagpur was bursting with a double dhamaka, courtesy Sachin Ramesh Tendulkar and Gautam Gambhir, he took his walk back to the pavilion. Catch live updates when we come back.